Now I'm going to show you the derivative power rule. And that rule says the derivative of function u times a function v is equal to u times the derivative of the function v plus v times the derivative of the function u. Now, for example, the derivative of x to the 5 times e to the power of negative r is equal to x to the 5th times the derivative of e to the power of negative r plus e to the power of negative r times the derivative of x to the 5. Now, let's break this into steps. So we have x to the power of 5 times the derivative of e to the power of negative r, and the derivative of e to the power of negative r is equal to e to the power of negative r times the derivative of times the derivative of negative r, which is equal to -1. And our answer for that is negative x to the power of 5 times e to the power of negative r. Now let's do this part. So we have e to the power of negative r times the derivative of x to the power of 5. And the derivative of x to the power of 5 is equal to 5x to the power of 4, and that equals to 5x to the power of 4 times e to the power of negative r. So now, since we have the derivatives of both parts of the equation, we can replace them, this into that, this into that, and this into that. So what we get is negative x to the power of 5 times e to the power of negative r plus 5x to the power of 4 times e to the power of negative r. And that's our final answer. Second example. Second example is the derivative of 4y to the third times e to the power of y. Here we're going to follow the same procedure. The first function times the derivative of our second function plus our second function times the derivative of our first function. And once again, we're going to break it into steps to make it less confusing. So we get 4y cubed times the derivative of e to the power of y. Now the derivative of e to the power of y is equal to e to the power of y times the derivative of y, which is equal to 1, and we end up with 4y cubed times e to the power of y. Now let's do this one. We have e to the power of y times the derivative of 4y cubed, and the derivative of 4y cubed is equal to 12y squared, and we end up with 12y squared times e to the power of y. Now what we can do is replace this into that and this into that to come up with the answer. So we have 4y cubed times e to the power of y plus 12y squared times e to the power of y. And that's our final answer.